everybody, welcome to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid with Monte, Poole. I'm Kerith, Burke. Monte, I gotta tell you, my thoughts are all over the place.
So are the Warriors.
Okay, the Warriors are 13-13. Okay, they're 500. They've only won 2 road games this season out of 11 games. Now, you can look at this one and say, okay, they were down their 3 All-Stars from last season.
Yes.
We know that they were shorthanded. It was just a 1-point loss. However, when you have a 4-point lead with 12 seconds left, did you see the way that the Warriors let this go? It feels like a gut punch. And this follows the Pacers game. We were talking about whether that was the worst loss of the season. So this game had a different flavor to it. I'm just saying, 2 back-to-back punches in a row, 2 gut punches. This is tough for the Warriors, trying to figure out still who they are and how to close out games.
Yeah, they turned an improbable win into a devastating loss. I mean, that's what happened in the final seconds, because you look at this game, and honestly, I thought in the second and third quarters, the Warriors kind of lost this game. That's what they were down 9 going into the fourth quarter. I thought, okay, it's probably going to be a loss. When you played the defense they played in the second and third quarters, which wasn't very much, Utah shot about 55% from the field, 53% from 3 between those 2 quarters, and they scored 70 points. When you give a team 70 points in any 2 quarters back-to-back, that team's usually going to win. So the Warriors go into the fourth down 9, and they make a really wonderful comeback to get back into this thing and take a lead. And yeah, should they have won it? Well, because they got the lead in the final seconds, you would think they should have won it. But they made the kind of mistakes that you can go back and look at the video, and the kind of mistakes that you should never make again. You know, Jordan Poole, losing the ball because he didn't corral it properly. Klay made an error. I mean, there were turnovers, and just, they left a 3-point shooter when they knew that the Jazz wanted a 3.
Yeah, Beasley.
And so, and Beasley's a good 3-point shooter, and they left. So they made the kind of mistakes that you should never make again. And I think when they look at the video, if they don't even need to, I think Klay already knows what he did wrong. And Jordan will say, I need to be better at that. So this is one that was both devastating and also at the same time educating. But I think there are some bright lights which we can get to.
Okay, all right, so bright spots. And let me just give you a roadmap for the show. We are going to talk about Kuminga. We're going to hear from Klay. We also need to talk about Wiseman and why he only played 5 minutes in this one. I feel a little confused about that one. Kuminga, okay, 30 minutes, 24 points. That's 2 shy of his career high. But how confident he looked out there, how natural he looked on his way to 10 of 13. What stood out to you about Kuminga?
Just the way that he was focused on both ends. I mean, he played smart basketball. There was only one time in the game where I thought, okay, he kind of had a JK lapse where he did something that he, had kind of one of his old habits, and he's broken most of those things. But tonight, I mean, his game it's an A game because he played defense, played great defense, played great offense, was highly efficient. This is the Jonathan Kuminga that the Warriors envisioned when they drafted him. A guy who has star potential, and you saw a glimpse of that tonight. So when you get through, it's only 1 of 82. When you get through the devastation of this loss, and you look at what JK was able to do tonight against this team, when the Warriors were without their stars, and he was big. Yeah. So I just think this is one night when you say, this is the JK we need. And
that was tough right there, the shoulder.
He is still coming.
Yes, I mean, I was trying to add up where his points came from tonight. I think there were about 4 layups. There were 4 dunks in this one too, and you can kind of make it look easy that way. We've talked about the way that he can just fall into points if he does the right things. But this was an aggressive, locked in, happy to seize an opportunity Kuminga, and look what it's getting you. This is the development you want to see in year 2.
24 points was tremendous because, like you say, he's going to walk into some points. 5 rebounds, that's pretty good. 4 assists for Kuminga is really good. So it's just a nice all-around game, and the fact that the play that he got tangled up with Jordan Clarkson there, I mean, he didn't back down from the vet. I mean, he was like, what are you doing?
I liked how he handled himself too.
Like, come on, you fouled me.
Yes,
And so that's what happened.
I think it's devastating when Kuminga smiled at Clarkson. I was like,
dude, little man.
And Dante maybe saved the day by wrapping Kuminga in a bear hug too. Let's just make sure everything was good there. Yes. Okay. Kuminga, we'll talk more about him on the Dubs Talk podcast as well. I want to hear from Klay Thompson in this one. Klay Thompson was in an interesting situation where he was the most senior member on the floor, the most veteran guy. on the floor at the end. He kind of lost a ball, but then on the other side, he blocked a ball, engaged in some moments, maybe was floating around on that Beasley three, like, Klay, what are you doing? Okay. Anyway, let's hear from Klay Thompson.
I mean, I'm really proud of our young guys. I mean, JK in particular, Moses came in, hit huge shots, fought to claw us back, and I mean, we just had a couple mental lapses. One on me personally, leaving Beasley open, a turnover, and a tough one to digest, but we'll learn from it and we'll be better.
What did you see when you left Beasley open? Kind of just walk me through, I guess, how you wound up.
Oh, thank you for letting me recollect such a great moment of the game. I just fell asleep. I didn't watch the ball handler get to the rim rather than sticking on the three-point shooter. And that was a dreadful mistake by myself.
You mentioned Jonathan and his performance. I mean, what did we just, his evolution, especially recently, putting together a really good string of games. Before we kind of talked about how he's doing all the little things but not necessarily scoring, which is good, but tonight he was able to do it all.
Yeah, I mean, his defense was incredible on Clarkson on that one possession at the end there, and his ability to finish around the rim. JK is a special talent, and he showcased that tonight. And while he's young in his career, when he keeps things simple, it's impressive to watch, and he's going to add layers to his game as each season goes by. So I'm just an incredible talent.
Seeing you make a lot of sense that there's like a game like this every year where you just leave the building, ask yourself like what happened? How do you guys like regroup from a game like this where you just played really well all the way until the final 15 seconds?
We watch the film. We learn from it. We take a nice day off, well-earned day off, and we just, learn from it. It's that simple.
Sometimes you can tell that guys don't know what to say after a game like this. It stings. They might go to cliches, or they might keep it simple like Klay did. We just have to watch the film and try to get better. Now, one thing Klay did say was this, some of the young guys in this game had big moments. He pointed out Kuminga. He pointed out Moses Moody. When it comes to James Wiseman, he was called up from this game. He was in the G League for 3 weeks. So the Warriors needed bodies tonight. They were down some guys. So here comes Wiseman. He checks in at the start of the second quarter, plays 5 minutes. I don't even know if we need to talk about his stats tonight. He had 2 shots, okay? 2 shots in 5 minutes, and then no more action from Wiseman for the rest of the night. And Monte, in my mind, I'm thinking, why call him up? Okay, I know I'm kind of like a radio caller right now. Would you mind just letting me sort of work through some of these thoughts?
Go ahead, get it out.
Okay. In the third quarter, when the Warriors were living and dying by the 3, all right? They were 4 of 13. I was like, okay, this isn't working for them. Why not try a little bit more at the rim? We've got a big man who plays around the rim. His name is James Wiseman. I thought he was going to check in the fourth quarter. He never did. His buns were on the bench. And I keep coming back to this question, why? It was clear the Warriors wanted to win this game. Of course, they were playing to win this game. Could Wiseman have helped them win this game? I'm going to keep asking questions. Okay. Could Wiseman have helped them win this game? If not, do you also think about whether they trust him yet? If they don't, what does that mean for his future? I'm kind of letting my mind like unspool a lot of things right here. Or what if Wiseman gets in his own head, like, don't you trust me? Do you believe in me? I think maybe this game could have been smoothed over, or I hope it felt good for him playing only 5 minutes if Steve Kerr communicated to him that it was going to be that type of night. We do know that Steve is good at communication, okay? So maybe it was sort of a, hey, you're here for insurance, we want to get you in, we don't know how many minutes you're going to end up playing. So if that was established from the get-go, okay, we don't know that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes for James Wiseman. Why did they do this? Why?
I believe that Steve Kerr intentionally did not say how long James was going to be here.
You're talking about even up with the big club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. And I think tonight he knew he was going to play, but didn't know how much.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was communicated to James. Now, I thought he would play 5 in the second quarter and 5 in the fourth.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought that was the slot for him. And I think when the Warriors went into the fourth quarter down 9, I think Steve Kerr saw a chance of a comeback. And if they made a comeback, he would ride with the guys he had, because if you have a chance to win a game with the guys that, you're already shorthanded, okay, but you're playing the guys who've been with you for all this time. And do you want to sacrifice a potential chance to win a game by putting in someone who has not played with these guys for several weeks? And I think that's probably what factored into it, is that Steve is saying, if I put Wiseman in now, then which one of these guys who's been with us for the last few weeks has been playing is not going to play? And I think that's my guess. Now, I don't know that Steve articulated that, but that's my guess. And I would understand that, because if you put a guy out there who hasn't been out there and with you for 3 weeks, more than 3 weeks now, you do kind of run the risk a little bit of, a player 2 or 3 where something goes haywire because he hasn't been with this team since November 14th.
Yeah, which would be a lot for Wiseman, because he is under a microscope right now. And I do understand playing within the flow of the game, but it kind of brings up a question, a season-long question. Well, when does Wiseman play? When do you fold him into the second unit? How do you do it? I'm a little baffled about what the picture looks like for this kid.
I don't know that they have a firm picture. Everything that I've gotten is that he is back now. And again, I'm not even sure he'll be with the team on Saturday. I mean, I'm not sure they even know yet. I think he was here because they were short 3 bodies. No Steph Curry, no Draymond Green, no Andrew Wiggins. And so there was a chance maybe that if this game were one-sided one way or the other, Wiseman might have played 15 minutes.
Yes, that's kind of the impression that I had.
Yeah, but it was a tight game, and tight enough for Steve to say in the fourth quarter, let's see what these guys can do for the first 4 or 5 minutes. If we're down by 20, James, get out there, whatever. But it didn't happen. They made a comeback. And once they make that comeback, and get within 2 and then take a lead, you got to go with that. You got to go with that. You got a chance to win.
I do understand Steve has been saying now that the second unit is starting to click, he doesn't want to change a lot of things in there. Then the second unit looked kind of wild in this game. You've got Ty Jerome starting, so the guys are coming in.
The second unit was all over the place because they were scattered, because there was no first and second unit tonight.
No, there was
3 starters were missing.
There were no units. There were no units in this one.
There were just individuals out there trying to help who else was out there.
It was nice to hear from James Wiseman at shoot-around today, kind of explaining that he wants to be up here.
Likes the big beds, man.
That's
those
right,
big hotel rooms.
Big soft beds, really nice hotel rooms. But it does go along with a theme for him. James is really invested in playing here. He wants to know what he has to do to get minutes with Golden State. He was a very good sport about the development in the G League, and he might be going back. You're right. Steve Kerr was non-committal about whether this was a one-game thing or what's the future.
He needs to play. He needs to play. And until he's able to play regular minutes with the NBA Warriors, it makes sense to have him play regular minutes with the C-Dubs. And if that means another week or 2 or 3, I mean, you got to do that, because to bring him back and then sit him on the bench does him no good, doesn't do anybody any good. And so Steve keeps saying he needs reps. I totally agree. He needs reps. He was getting those in Santa Cruz. He got 5 minutes tonight. That doesn't really count much. So if it means he goes back to Santa Cruz, but he is playing regularly, so be it. That's better than him playing 5 minutes or not at all with the Warriors.
All right, so we don't know what's going to happen with James Wiseman, but just to note, the Santa Cruz C-Dubs have games this Friday and Sunday. Okay, when we come back, we're going to get wild, okay? I asked Twitter, I know, I asked Twitter, how are you feeling after this game, or how are you feeling about the Warriors being 13-13? We're going to let you, the fan, have your voice next.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid, the #1 post-workout recovery drink in America. Try now and visit drinkfitaid.com.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on YouTube
What
Live.
is up?
Shannon says Clarkson literally squaring up. JK just laughing. It was too good. I know we were kind of mentioning how Clarkson sort of looked like the Notre Dame mascot there. Put up your dukes.
That might have infuriated Clarkson even more to see the dude laughing
I know, just
at me.
laughing. I almost thought he was going to raise the Dikembe Mutombo finger.
Come on, vet.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Ooh. Okay. Shoot. Where did this? Oh, there was a really great comment. Where did it go? Where did it go? I just lost it. Oh, no, it's from Andrew Eblin. He says, I had a cold when I started watching that game. After that ending, I'm terminal. It was a brutal, brutal ending. Oh, gosh.
Hey, it's one of 82. It's one of 82. It's a game that you probably didn't think they were going to win going in because no Curry, no Draymond, no Andrew.
No Wiggins, yeah.
Yeah, you probably think, okay, we're probably going to lose this game.
Yeah.
And to see them come that close when they didn't play that well for most of the game, I think it's in a weird way, it hurts because of the way it unfolded in the final seconds. But again, this is a game that shows them a lot of things they can look at and improve upon for the next, 57 games 56 games they play. So,
Yeah. 26
think it'll be fine.
games, I feel like our hearts have been through so much already.
There have been some ugly losses.
Woo.
There have been some ugly losses, and tonight was one that it was ugly, but I mean, there were
Yeah.
uglier losses because to me, it's an uglier loss when your regulars are out there losing to in Orlando.
Yes. Or
in
the
Charlotte.
Pacers game was a lot more dreadful.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you. 8 minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubstock Live, presented by FitAid. Okay, I told you, let's get wild here. I think more than 100 people have responded before I got to this desk. And these are tweets that our producer Dan has picked for us. So some of these are surprises. If I could guess, I think I know some of the themes. But why don't we take a look at the first one coming in on Twitter. This is from Michael. This is 2 missed free throws, 2 turnovers in the last 25 seconds. That is a disaster. And he makes the point that these games, these losses are going to cost them late in the season. And Michael, I think you make a good point. Every team has a collection of games that they're like, shoot, if we could have had that one back. You start counting in the standings a little bit. If we had one more game, 2 more games. Yeah, this one hurts.
They're now 1-7 in games that they're in the final 5 minutes within 5 points.
1 of 7?
1-7. So tight games, the Warriors this year, they're tumbling. They're not doing well, and that's not a good sign for a team that has championship pedigree. A team that is defending champions in the NBA to come in and lose 7 of 8 games, tight games. And this was another one, and this was a game that they could have had. So I totally get that. There are some games where you make mistakes that are just kind of almost like fate. But the mistakes that cost them in this game are mistakes that are easily correctable and honestly should not have happened.
Yeah, I get that. All right. I mean, you're looking at the Warriors are taking care of business at home, but only 2 road wins out of 11. That's
Out of
tough.
13, 2 and 11.
Yeah, there you go, 2 and 11.
Woof.
All right, guys, let's check out the next tweet here. Oh, we got the T word. Make a trade, shake it up. I understand why fans are thinking something needs to change here. When they look at the bench, the second unit, when they look at deficiencies they need to fill, Monte. What do you think?
Well, the phones are open.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything imminent, but they understand where they are and they understand what they need, and they know that what they have right now is probably not going to cut it. Now, the question is, what will they have to give up to get what might be a short-term situation? Someone who has this may be an expiring contract coming in, but I do believe there will be a trade. I mean, they bring back Wiseman now, and that means they brought him back when there's, I think, 9 weeks before the trade deadline, and there's 30 games within that span between now and the trade. There are 29 now between now and the trade deadline. And I think sometime between now and February 9th, that the way things are going, I think something's going to happen. And I think they will address the need for someone who can go inside and provide some muscle or some activity, some production in there. Not someone who's a big scorer. They don't need a guy who come in and score 30, 25 points a night. Just someone who can solidify the big minutes behind Loon and Draymond in that situation. Because right now it's not Wiseman. Someone who can play some defense. That's going to be the key. A guy who can play defense. Because right now these Warriors don't have great point of attack defense. That was Gary Payton II's specialty. And they don't have great rim protection, which they were hoping James Wiseman would bring that, and so far that hasn't been the case. He was late with a rotation tonight on a Jordan Clarkson layup, and he was a step late. He's easily up for Jordan Clarkson.
Do they know what they have with Wiseman yet? What would be his trade value?
Right now, it's not high.
hard to say.
It's not high.
Yeah.
When you send an overall number 2 pick to the G League in his third season, even though it
He
really,
missed all of last year.
Yeah, it's not really his third season.
This was his 51st
Yeah,
NBA
this is
game.
not really his third. He hasn't played 3 years of NBA basketball.
Right.
He played less than a season, a little more than half a season. So, but his trade value is not high right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's way too early to give up on him. But in this system, you know, he's not a seamless fit. They already know that.
Yeah.
The question is whether he can become the kind of defensive player they need to make really good use of him. And right now, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, nobody wants to trade low either. Okay, so that T word coming up. Let's go to this one. Almost won the game because of JK and JP. Very true, but this is obvious. The Dubs roster isn't deep enough to competently keep the lead in the final seconds of the game. You've been right that there have been some boneheaded or bonkers kind of finishes. Now, you do think that 3 All-Stars were missing from this game. Okay,
Yeah.
That definitely would have stabilized things. A lot of young players on the floor tonight. Klay Thompson was on the floor. This was an opportunity where he could have been one of the leaders.
And Klay, as he admitted, Klay made a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, he made an error down the stretch there. You never leave a three-point shooter when they won a 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so he left Malik Beasley, and Malik drained the 3, and it hurt. So it put the Jazz in position to win the game with their next make. And so this was a game where you look at it, and if you're the Warriors, you're thinking, you know, yeah, we were without 3 All-Stars. And I think that's why going into the game, you probably, if you're going to be honest with yourself, you probably think the chances of winning are not very good. You're playing in Utah at altitude. They're a young team, but they're playing very well for a young team. And so you're thinking this is going to be a tough game to win. And they almost had it.
Mm-hmm.
They almost had it. So I think, oddly enough, that as much as it hurts in the immediate, I think over the long haul, I think this is almost a good loss because this should put a little fire in your belly.
The ones that sting?
Yeah,
Okay.
it put a little fire in your belly, and you will see mistakes that you say, okay, I cannot do that again. I cannot do that again, and that shouldn't happen again.
Okay. The person who tweeted mentioned Jordan Poole. Let's give him just a little bit of love because he had 36 points and 8 assists, and those were both team highs tonight. Okay, so this one. Dope that Kuminga is finally getting comfortable. It's annoying that we are sitting out the starters for every road game. Okay, so these are legit injuries. I do understand your frustration. I don't think they're sitting out people willy-nilly. This isn't the second game of a back-to-back where some of these are head scratchers like, okay, this guy needs some secret rest.
I mean, Steph and Draymond played the back-to-back at home here just a few days ago.
So they did play. Okay, so Steph has a left ankle. Draymond has left hip tightness. Wiggins has a right adductor strain. There was some Wiggins news. He's going to be reevaluated on Monday. So after the Warriors were saying, or Steve Kerr specifically said, like, no concern here, now it sounds like they're adding a little bit of caution. I was looking at the Dr. Pandya. So he's the guy from UCSF. He's the doctor who does the injury analysis for 95.7 The Game. He says that typically what he sees, it's 2 weeks for NBA players with an adductor injury. Just to be clear, he has not seen Wiggins. He's not Wiggins' doctor. We're just using his professional expertise. It might be a little bit of an extension.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
thing
This is not a thing that goes away in a day or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to play against Boston on Saturday, so
Yeah.
they already decided that. Then they go on the road that Monday, and they'll be on the road for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. We don't know if he's going to go on that trip even at this point.
So to be determined with Wiggins. An adductor strain is a groin injury. So, big game coming up on Saturday against the Celtics, and we're not sure who's going to be available for that one. Wiggins already ruled out. Okay, when Dubs Talk Live returns.
Oh, one more tweet. We got another one. Oh, yeah. Look at that one.
Is this a good or bad? I think it was like a frustration.
There should be a couple of G.
From our friend at Warriors Muse. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Oh, hi. We are still back. We'll be right back. Dubs Talk Live presented by Fit Aid. We'll see you on YouTube in just a second. And another block to come. Let's talk about those Celtics. What would you like to talk in this next block? We can talk Celtics a little bit. I usually look up some stats.
That's fine.
But I didn't anticipate talking about them, actually, just that they were.
Yeah, I spent part of the day, the afternoon.
43? Oh, okay, no problem.
I spent part of the day with the Celtics people back east, our Boston people, are doing
That's right.
Celtics Live.
Yeah.
Celtics Talk, I should say. Celtics Talk. We call it Dubs Talk here. They call it
Okay.
Celtics Talk. So,
Celtics
yeah,
Talk.
call me a traitor if you want. but
No,
I was
no,
on the-
no, no.
I was
We-
on the
we
Celtics
gotta-
Talk podcast today.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, that the rematch of the two finals teams and what has happened over the past 5 months that's so different now. And we see the differences now. And it's almost 6 months now. And so it's a good conversation because this is a national TV game.
Yep.
And the Celtics have been without a couple of key guys all season.
And they're still winning.
Yes.
They have the best record in the East.
Yes. Yes.
Whew, I'm looking up
So-
some stats right now. I'll have to turn to the laptop, but yeah.
And they won in Phoenix tonight.
They dominated in Phoenix tonight.
They're good. Yeah. Yeah. So
They are
You know,
good.
if
What was that?
oh, 45. Okay, 45.
We thought he told us 5, which
Yeah.
means we've got to zip it.
No, because I mean, on paper you think, okay, Warriors Celtics, this is going to be a big Titanic battle.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't even know which Warriors are going to be ready.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't know if it means as much. If Steph or Draymond and Wiggins is out, if any two of those three guys are out, it doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
If one of them is out, it doesn't mean as much. But if two of them are out, it definitely doesn't mean as much. So
Wiggins is out.
yeah, we know at least one
Yeah.
of them is going to be out.
Yeah.
At least one.
I mean, I kind of think, all right, Klay and Dre stayed back for the reason. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid. So the Celtics come into town on Saturday. That is a championship rematch, but it's going to feel a little strange. We know Andrew Wiggins won't play. We'll have to keep an eye on the injury report for everybody else. The Celtics beat the Suns tonight.
Yep.
I'm looking at some Celtics
In
stats.
Phoenix.
Number 1 in points per game. Okay, they are number 1 in three-pointers made, three-point percentage, free throw percentage. So the Celtics are the best team in the NBA right now. It's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think, you know, going in, the Celtics have a fire in their belly because they know last season, think about this, last season they had a 2-1 lead on the Warriors, and their game 4 was at home in Boston.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, okay, guys, we're up 2-1. Here's our chance to take this series right now and take command. And Steph Curry said, no, not happening on my watch.
Nope.
And so Steph got the Warriors even, and at that point, you kind of knew, okay, it tilted toward the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the two Jays, are playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
And so Marcus Smart is playing good basketball. And they haven't missed Robert Williams, but they have missed him, and he's going to be back in the next couple of weeks. So think about Robert Williams and the way he played in the finals and how annoying he was with the Warriors against the Warriors on one leg.
Yes.
They're going to be better as they go along. They're good now. They're going to be better. So Saturday's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown is an MVP candidate. He's in the conversation. Hey, taking a
Tatum,
look at
yeah.
the West, the Pelicans are now number 1. The Warriors are 10th at 13-13, sitting at that 500 average.
Got a ways to go.
Okay, all right. I think we covered everything. We're going to talk about it on the podcast too. See you guys. Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid. All right, my YouTube friends. Warriors.
YouTube.
The thing with the
YouTube.
standings, because everything is so bunched, there's like this yo-yo, this like jerking back and forth.
You can
The
go
Warriors
from 5th
were-
to 6th and
yeah, the
to
Warriors
9th
were,
in one night.
We're 6th, I think, and now they're 10th, and it just. But the problem is they're just not getting any separation. The Suns lost tonight, the Nuggets lost tonight, the Kings lost tonight. Had the Warriors won? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this was just a 1-point loss here in a game where actually we were talking about how maybe the Warriors didn't have a chance in this one, but then you see. Going in, that is. They played for a chance. No Lauri Markkanen in this one. So
Right.
that was the Jazz. He's their leading point scorer and rebounder. No Mike Conley, their leading assist man.
He
So
didn't
they
play when they
were
were
they
here
were
either,
kind of
yeah.
discombobulated too. Maybe
Yeah.
this game was ripe for the plucking. And
Oh, they had a chance.
Yes.
You know, they had a 5-point lead after the first quarter. Then the second and third quarters, they didn't play well. And when you give up 70 in 2 quarters, you're kind of asking for a loss. The Jazz go into the fourth quarter. They already have 100 points already.
Yeah.
When a team has 100 going into the fourth quarter, they're in really good shape.
Yeah.
So for the Warriors to come back and tighten up on defense and play and get their shots together and make it a game, they had a 17-6 run. And took out a 9-point deficit, made it a 2-point lead in their favor, and then after that it kind of came apart. So this is a game that's going to hurt, and it should hurt, but it should hurt in a way that makes you better.
I remember Steve Kerr saying in a previous game he wanted to see his team play with grit, and the Warriors did that.
In the fourth quarter tonight, that was gritty.
Except for the the last 12 seconds of the game. I know, because that fourth quarter, Warriors won the fourth quarter 32-24.
Yeah.
But they lost this game hard in a really crappy way.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought they had lost the game before the fourth quarter. So to see them come back says a lot about their determination. I mean, because they could have just said, you know what, okay, guys, you know, this is not
get a
our
pass
night.
for this
Not
game,
our night.
everybody
You know,
knows.
we're
Yeah.
Utah through three quarters was shooting up like 55%, and they ended up at 53.5. So they got it down a little bit. So I just think the Warriors, it should hurt. It will hurt. But if you're looking at a guy like Kuminga, you're saying, okay, JK is coming, and at this rate, he's going to be an important part of this team going forward. By the second half of the season, he could be somebody they can almost rely on, which would be a tremendous boost.
Yep, that's what they want to see from him, coming into his own in year 2. All right, guys, thank you for joining us on Dubs Talk Live. We will see you back here Saturday. That's a national game. We'll see you back here. We'll see you back here real soon.